Welcome back, travelers, to your referral roadmap. This podcast is dedicated to helping you unleash your personal and business revenue potential by cultivating referral relationships. In this 10-part series, we are giving you the tools to break you free from the productivity traps that keep you overwhelmed, overworked, and underfulfilled. If you've ever felt like no matter how hard you work, you're just spinning your wheels, stuck in that cycle of busyness instead of real progress, this series is for you. This isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters. So, if you're ready to trade burnout for real momentum, let's dive in. Today, we are talking about shame-free productivity, how to get more done without self-criticism, and really just to, dive deeper into what that means. In our relentless pursuit of productivity, we often become our harshest critics, equating our worth with our output, and this self-imposed pressure not only diminishes our well-being, but also undermines our effectiveness. So, recognizing and overcoming this cycle of self-criticism is essential for fostering a healthier, more sustainable approach to productivity. Again, progress over perfection. I know Athena has a little thing on her, is it your desk that you have?
Yes, here for those of you who can't see, I'm holding up a sign that says progress over perfection, and I keep it at my desk at all times, along with another quote that says never, never give up by Winston Churchill. So yes.
I love it. Awesome. Well, Athena, do you have a story for us today before we dive into some facts and figures?
Absolutely do. And I just want to thank everybody who has stuck with this series. I keep laughing. I know you're throwing tomatoes at the screen or at, in your car, you wish you could. I'm, screaming, I don't want to hear about it. I know this subject is not everybody's favorite, and getting productive is something that has a lot of emotion attributed to it. So I want to thank you for being here. Please like and subscribe, save this, share it with your friends. Again, we want to make an impact, and we want people to get the resources they need to have the most productive life and live with intention and impact. But I want to talk about, I was really excited about this subject today, Jada, because oftentimes when we talk about productivity, people don't think about self-criticism. So I really want to unpack that for a second. I'll have a couple of stories that will weave this in, but I really want to say to this, self-criticism in productivity is kryptonite to productivity. We need to have grace for ourselves. And it oftentimes, if we do not have grace for ourselves, if we do not allow progress over perfection, we stop it altogether. And we just say, I can't do it. That tool doesn't work for me. That theory doesn't work for me. And you limit your capability, you limit your creativity, you limit your impact. And so I don't want to do that. Self-criticism is not all negative, Jada, if it's from a place of growth, right? But if it's a place of shame and degradation of self, you guys, that is again kryptonite to productivity. So we do not want to do that. So let me tell you a couple of stories. This is interesting. Men that are listening, I'm not trying to leave you out, but I typically find when I'm interviewing or onboarding CEOs, the female CEOs struggle with this self-criticism of our calendar and our productivity far more than most of the men do. Now, the men have a hard time with prioritization, but they don't feel a lot of guilt and shame about their calendar as much as the CEO ladies that I know. And I'm going to tell you where I think this is. So I'm going to just tell you one circumstance. I onboarding a mom, CEO, business owner, founder, all the things, right? And when we started unpacking, what we had learned is she was actually had shame and guilt about how productive she was at work because it meant something else was being hurt in her mind. And so in her mind, she had to be 100% at work, 100% of a wife, 100% of a mom. Ladies who are listening, anybody else feel like that? Like you have to be 100% of all, right? Hello, me
I'll raise
too.
my own hand. I'll raise my own
Yeah.
hand over here.
Yeah. Okay, ladies, I'm raising both hands. We put unrealistic expectations on ourselves. And what it does is it creates that shame and it creates self criticism and it makes us feel like we're less, we're not good enough, we're not. That has to stop. Um, you cannot, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot be 100% at everything. We cannot. You cannot be 100% at work, 100% at home, and 100% in all of your relationship. It doesn't work like that. Now, those of you are like, yeah, but I have to be. No, you don't. And you won't be. You will not be. There is no one listening right now. I'm telling you, you'll kill yourself. And even if you think you are, you won't. Here's what I want you to understand. We have to first sit with ourselves and realize that if we're going to put the responsibility of ourselves to be a CEO, a founder, a business person, and be a mom and or father and be a life partner to someone, depending on what's going on in your life, you are 100%. You as a human is 100. You're 100. I want you to think about that for a second. You're 100. Now, if you take that 100 and divide it into those categories, that's the percentage you get to give. Think about this for a second. Now, this took me a long time, Jada, to understand. And this is a concept that I work with the CEOs that I onboard. And by the way, it's not the women struggle with this more, but it's not just the women, it's the men too. Um, I'm fortunate that a lot of the men CEO founders and businessmen that come to me, they want a good family life. They want to be good fathers. They want to be good husbands. They're not looking just for fame, fortune, and achievement at work. They want this balance. And so we have to talk about, but the men and women are exhausted. They don't feel good enough, right? So I'm going to go, I want to go back to this 100% thing. And now I'm going to feed in a male story. One of my favorite clients, I'm actually going to be having dinner with he and his wife um, in the next month. And I'm excited about that. However, when he came to me and he was explaining, he was already successful and he was explaining to me his situation. One of the things that really got me, he wasn't trying to make more money. He was trying to figure out how he continued to make the money he needed to make and be the father and now grandfather and husband he wanted to be.
Well,
And when we really unpack that, he had a lot of shame. He had a lot of guilt. He had a lot of negative emotions. And so we unpacked that together. And when we did, in that conversation, I'll never forget it. And I may have said this story before because it really hit me. I remember looking at him one day, Jada, and I said, "You are not a rented mule. You are more valuable than that. You're more important than that. And we have to define for you, what do you want to be known for in your life? How do you want to live your life?" And we sat down and really evaluated his priorities, his life goals, how he wanted to live his life, how he wanted to show up as a father and a husband. And we started to look at how he wanted to use the minutes God had given him. And you guys, that's what productivity is. Every single one of us get 24 hours a day. Okay, 24 hours a day. Now, not only do those 24 hours a day determine the impact and success of financial success or business success, right, that you're going to have, but it also, those 24 hours determine who you're going to be, your character house, the parent you're going to be, the spouse you're going to be, the friend you're going to be, the legacy you will live. Think about that. It's equal. So the people living really well What are they doing different? Well, I'll tell you. My client, we spent a year, he coached with me for 2 years. By the way, it took us 6 months to get to that point, Jada, to really define what the true problem was, okay? So, think about that. This sounds easy. It's not easy
Mm.
because we have to give away this notion. He had to give away a notion that I'm the man. I have to be providing and providing and providing. Now, he's still the provider, but we put systems in place to give him his life back so he could focus on being the father he wanted to be and the husband he wanted to be, right? So we systematized it, we prioritized it, we organized it. But more importantly, we gave him permission to do it. Same thing with my female CEOs. I'm like, no, it's not 100, you're 100. And so, depending on what's going on in life, there's times where those percentages change. Okay. It's not like you just, there's not, Jada, there's not like okay, well, work gets 80%. And then no, it depends on what's going on in your life. You guys, this 100% ebbs and flows. So I'll just use my personal life. I really want you guys to get this concept. 100% is you. Currently, right now, if you follow me, you know my daughter's going through a tough time. Matter of fact, um, you know, we're going to be at the hospital twice in the week that I'm recording this with her. Big appointments with neurology and orthology. I mean, anyway, big appointments. Right now, with what's going on in my life, I'm 100%. I will say I love work so much that to me, work usually gets about 75% because I have huge, audacious goals and I've got this like purpose that I feel like God has put on my heart and I want to do these things and I love working. I don't have hobbies. I work. Like this is what I love to do. So I'm going to say 75%. And then the rest gets divvied up between being a mom and friend and a wife, right? Well, right now, Jada, with everything going on with my daughter, do you think we're getting 75% of the 100 that is Athena?
We just
No,
can't.
it can't. It can't. Now, that's okay. That percentage has to decrease so I can give more percentage to my daughter right now. Now, does that mean I'm achieving less at work? Sometimes. But I'll tell you this. Sometimes when we have to reduce the percent we give one area, it forces us to figure out the priorities in that area, Jada. So we do less of the stuff that's not as productive and we do more of the productive stuff. And sometimes when it gets squished, we actually get more productive.
Mm.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this concept of 100, 100, 100 is making you not prioritize, shame yourself, and not be your best. If you just say, I'm 100 and I've got to divvy it up. And right now, Jada, I know you, before you had a baby, your work got a lot more percent than it does now. I
Yeah.
promise you.
Yeah.
Promise you, right? You have a baby under the age of 1, right? And you're juggling her and your careers.
Mhm.
Hello. Now, does that mean you're no longer productive, that you're not achieving?
Mm-mm.
No. Means you're a lot more focused.
Yeah. Yes. Those
And
focus
you're more
hours become
tired.
very
I will say
focused.
this too. You're also more tired.
Mm. That is the truth.
But you are achieving it and you're only 100%. And the one thing, I'm going to call you out, and this is you are a purposeful wife. You have intention and purpose in your relationships with your friends. You with your family, you have purpose and intent with your family, all while you're juggling raising and developing your daughter and your career. You don't, but that's all being done in 100% of you, right? You cannot give any one of those all of you. It doesn't work. So I really want you guys to understand this concept. And by the way, I don't have science to prove this. This is just my life experience in teaching and training people because people come to me and they have these expectations that we have to be 100% in all of them, and it always has to be consistent. That's not real. I want us to get honest with ourselves and show up every day without shame, with confidence, and do the best we can, prioritize the best we can, just like my clients are. We can do that. Jade is doing it right now in her life. I know someday she'll look back on this and be like, dang, how did I do it all? But
How did
she's
I do
doing
it
it,
all?
you know, but you're doing it. I will look back on this time with Savannah, this very complicated time, and I'll wonder how I did it. But we'll both grow because of it. And I want you listeners to understand that too. I want you to be like the male CEO who came to me. And after 2 years of working with me, yes, we stabilized his business. Yes, we gave him systems. But the thing he would say most is that I allowed him to figure out how he made money and became the best father he could be, grandfather he could be, and the absolute best husband he could be. Think about, how do you want to live your life? My mentor, Darren Hardy, I was just on a call with him last week, and he said something. He said, and now he's all about achievement. If you know him, he's really about achievement. But he said this: the moment he became vulnerable with his wife and he was honest that he needed to create substance and value outside of his productivity in business, his marriage thrived.
Hmm.
And he even will tell you, do not sacrifice the things money can't buy in the pursuit of money. And this is from a 100 millionaire times multiple, right? He is focused on making money, and he will even tell you, don't do it at a particular cost, right? And so we need to, he is too, only 100%. And I know his wife, Georgia, personally, and I know she gets a big chunk of that 100%. And he's purposeful, very purposeful about allowing her to feel like she's the most important person in the world. And if he was sitting here with me talking, he would tell you she is by far the most important relationship, and nothing he does to pursue big dreams could ever get in the way of that. So again, it's taking back your priorities, understanding what they are, and aligning your priorities, your productivity, not having shame about it, because we're protecting ourselves, and so we don't self criticize. But Jada, I've done lots of talking. Tell us, is there any science to this? I know my 100% theory is not out there, but maybe I need to do some science on it. But tell us, what science do we have?
Hey, there might be some science on that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have 3 different, I would say they're more of just themes that I saw throughout research
Okay.
that I wanted to talk on today. So one of them is self-criticism impairs motivation and goal progress. So the study that I saw was examining athletes and musicians. It found that self-criticism negatively correlates with the self-concordant goal of motivation and goal progress, indicating that individuals who are highly self-critical may struggle to stay motivated and achieve their objectives. And then the second one is that shame leads to emotional exhaustion and job burnout. Research indicated that feelings of shame in the workplace can lead to emotional exhaustion, contributing to job burnout. And this emotional burden not only affects the individual's well being, but also impairs their overall job
Mm,
performance.
yeah, see.
Now, the third one is a negative self talk hinders cognitive performance. The research here says that engaging in harsh self criticism can create neural pathways that reinforce negative thought patterns, leading to decreased self esteem and impaired cognitive functions, which can adversely affect task performance and productivity.
Yes. Okay, so there is science there. This is why we have to give ourselves permission to know our priorities and understand it is progress over perfection, and that we're never going to show up 100% every time, because we need to, I mean, that, knowing we don't need any more emotional exhaustion or burnout. And
No,
Lord
no
knows
more.
I have not met one human being, unless they're a true psychopath narcissist, that needs any negative cognitive, any additional negative cognitive performance. You know what I mean? Most of us are
Yeah.
walking around being like so hard on ourselves,
Yeah,
right?
being our own worst critic.
Exactly. So we need
Yeah,
to really think about that and how that affects us. So even
definitely.
though this is a subject that often renders a lot of self-negative or frustration, we've got to get that out and understand and give ourselves some grace. But all right, so here's where the rubber meets the road. What do we do with this? You guys, Jada and I want to make sure that you have some real life. What do I do, Athena? Embrace self-compassion. I can't say that enough. Embrace self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness. And I used to be so bad at this, Jada. My husband Jerry used to tell me all the time, Athena, you talk to yourself worse than I've ever heard anyone talk to anyone. And it just broke his heart. And I had to work really hard to stop doing that, right? Stop doing that and offer ourselves kindness. Acknowledge that we all make mistakes, it's part of our growth. And so we can give ourselves compassion to reduce some of our anxiety, but build also resiliency. Okay. I'm not saying compassion meaning give ourselves the ability to make excuses. I'm saying give yourself compassion that you're human and you're going to make mistakes. There are going to be times, ladies and gentlemen, when you're not going to show up as the best parent. You're not going to show up the best spouse. You're not going to show up the best whatever. Learn from it, move on. Don't own it as a label. Okay. Move on. Number 2, set achievable goals. Now, I'm all about the hairy, audacious goals too, but we need to make sure that we break our big goals into baby steps that are palpable, doable, can be done in a timely manner, that we have the resources and the bandwidth to do them. Okay. Do not create goals that are so lofty that they really can't be done or they would take 100% of you, which is not real. Hello, you can't give one thing 100% at one time. Um, so you have to think through, am I being realistic? Have I approached this goal correctly? Have I backed it up into baby steps? Am I making progress? Celebrating those progresses. And Jada and I have goal setting boot camps and things to help you go deeper. But let's be realistic. 3, reframe the negative thoughts. Okay. When you have a negative thought, be aware of it. Stop yourself. Stop yourself. Stop yourself and force yourself to say something positive. That's not easy, but it's cognitive therapy on the fly with yourself. And I want you to think about it. When you're saying something negative, shut it down. Shut it down. When I was getting through that, Jada, when I was saying my husband used to say I talked about to myself so badly. One of the things I would do to do better at that is when I would be on one of my rants against myself, I would say, "You can't talk about my friend like that."
Mm,
You can't talk about my friend, like to shut my own self down. You know what I mean? I'm
yeah.
shutting my own self down. But it was a trigger to say, hey, stop, stop, right? So then shifting and getting more positive. Number 4, prioritize your personal well being, right? So goes back to prioritizing your entire life. Again, in our boot camp, we talk about the whole wheel, but what are you doing to spend time on your hobbies, your relaxation, your physical, mental health, on your family, on your friends? What are you doing to do the things money can't buy?
Mm,
What are you doing? Are they a priority? And if not, make them a priority. Okay. And I understand there's a balance. You got to work, but they can still be a priority. And they need to be thoughtful. Otherwise, you can go through. Trust me, I've done it. I did it for a long time. You go through and you don't take care of self. All right, number 5, connect with supportive individuals. We need a tribe, okay? Get get some people around you that you can trust, that they encourage you. They have a positivity about them, okay? Get a good tribe of people. I just posted in one of my groups today that, we are the sum of the 5 people, and we need to be around people that are cheering for us, believe in us, and are helping us go through whatever it is that we're going through to help us be the best that we can be. I know for me personally, in the season I'm in, it's critical for me to be around people of faith because I'm in a season where my faith is really the only thing sustaining me. So it's really more than ever, that's important. So know that. Know the seasons you're in and what you need more. Just be aware that we need people. Another thing is adapt a growth mindset. I hope that if you're listening to this podcast, you're like, duh, I already have that. Good. I hope so. But we need to be consistently learning, developing, learning about ourselves, learning about other people. Um, this is critical. I think the wiser you are, the more you know you don't know. Right? That's it. If you think you know it all, if you're 21 and think you know it all, then I'm going to tell you that's not true. All right.
You're
Um,
wrong.
you're wrong. Right. One of my very, very successful wise friends recently said, why does wisdom have to come with age? He's like, gosh, I wish I knew what I know now, and even my early 30s. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish it too. But anyway, so constantly be learning and developing. And last step here, you guys, learn from role models. This Get people in your life, mentors and individuals who have faced the challenges you're facing and have to prioritize their life. Get inspiration, talk with them, cry with them. Jada, I love that you have a whole tribe of women going through what you're going through. And so you're not alone, and women who've done it before, right? And so getting that, get role models and understand, so you have the inspiration and the belief so that you can continue to persevere. Remember, take control of your life because your life matters, and you want to live a life of impact and purpose, but more importantly, get control of it so you're not shaming yourself. Okay, we don't no shame. We're anti-shame in this game. But all right, Dana, that was a lot. I know. What do we do? What do we do with this now?
Well, I do kind of want to pipe in about the role models because I think you touched on something. I do have a really good tribe of women around me that are, in my same season of life, maybe a step ahead and then 10 steps ahead. And I think that that is crucial for me. And so maybe someone else can find value in that is having people, sitting with you where you're at, people who have walked a year ahead of where you're at, and then people that have walked 5 to 10 years ahead of where you're at. I think that has been critical for me, having people in all of those different seasons because I can, really sit and resonate with the people that are where I'm at right now. I can ask, kind of immediate advice of people that still remember what it was like a year ago to be in my shoes. And then it's really helpful for those people that are, 5 to 10 years ahead of where I am and where I want to be in 5 to 10 years of, okay, what are you doing now? How did you get to where you are now? And so I think that can be applicable across all different
Yeah.
areas of life. And so I just wanted to pipe
Oh,
in and
if you would take listeners, if you would take what she just said and you could take it for motherhood, you could take it for relationship, you can definitely take it for business, right? It is why that is the same reason I have Darren Hardy as my mentor, because where he's at is where I want to go. And so I just, I'm sucking up everything he can give me to get that. So you guys don't do it alone, right? I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Jada.
Yeah, of course. And then your question of where do we go from here? So this is season 9, so there's going to be one more episode. But we want to invite you to download our resource guide. So it is our season 5 resource guide, has all the goodies from episodes 1 through 9 and even 10. So you might get a sneak peek if you download it today. So definitely go download that. It'll be in the show notes below, the link to download. The link to our Success Revolution will also be in there. And so would invite you to join us on that. It is our weekly blog. It's sent straight to your inbox where you get those goodies and weekly growth strategies. So would encourage you to sign up for that. And then want to invite you to join us again next week for the last episode of the season. We will be talking about where rubber meets the road, putting it all together for lasting change. Athena is going to be bringing some real talk and real strategies and some things you can really implement. And so we just hope that we see you back next week. And thank you for listening today. We'll see you
Thank
then.
you guys. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you.